A California state senator is proposing new legislation to crack down on doctors who commit sexual misconduct with their patients. The bill from San Diego Senator Akilah Weber-Pearson is in response to a Team 10 investigation. It exposed a loophole in a state law that was supposed to ban doctors with a history of sexual misconduct from working. Investigative reporter Austin Grabish follows through on the new proposed bill. He discovered even if it becomes law, several doctors, including one accused of having sex with a patient, would be able to stay licensed.
Dr. Anthony Bianchi is in good standing with California's medical board, free to see patients, even though state records show during a 2009 pelvic exam, Bianchi pulled his pants down, exposed himself, and asked his patient to have sex with him.
I rise here to present SB 849, a bill that addresses physician sexual misconduct.
State Senator Akilah Weber-Pearson wants physicians who've committed sexual misconduct with patients to have their medical licenses revoked for life. The lawmaker has introduced SB 849 following a Team 10 investigation last summer that revealed several doctors with a history of sexual misconduct were allowed to stay licensed.
New details in a Team 10 investigation that exposed a loophole in a state law designed to stop doctors with a history of sexual misconduct from practicing.
The loophole in the doctor's sexual misconduct law that Weber-Pearson brought forward more than 3 years ago surprised the OBGYN. This is how she explained her original law that came into force in 2023.
They will not be able to get renewal of their medical license to continue to practice here in California.
But our investigation revealed that statement wasn't true. We discovered several examples of doctors who were allowed to get their medical licenses back, including a gynecologist who went to jail after being convicted of felony sexual assault. In another case, we exposed how Dr. Austin Kuba got his license reinstated just weeks after Weber-Pearson's legislation became law. The medical board had revoked Kuba's license after he had sex with a patient who became pregnant, and even put out a press release calling the OBGYN's actions an egregious violation of the law. Kuba went on to work at a clinic in Calexico and now has an office in El Cajon.
My jaw dropped when I saw it. I go, but it's supposed to take effect. It's supposed to be in, the law is supposed to protect patients from people like this.
The cases we found surprised Weber-Pearson, who went back to the drawing board to create SB 849. Since then, we've learned the medical board received 227 complaints of doctor sexual misconduct just in its last fiscal year.
More recently, articles about sexual misconduct within the medical industry brought this issue to the forefront once again. In those articles and further discussions, we discovered that the original bill did not include explicit reference to license renewals.
The senator's new bill would require the medical board to automatically revoke the license of a doctor if it had been reinstated after 2020, following a finding of sexual misconduct with a patient. But right now, the medical board says it's only aware of one physician who meets that criteria, Dr. Austin Kuba.
So what this law is going to do is trying to fix a very specific circumstance in which doctors who had their license removed and then reinstated after the previous law took effect, that those licenses will be removed.
University of San Diego law professor Marcus Friedman has reviewed the proposed legislation. He has concerns about the legality of the bill and is monitoring it at the university's Consumer Protection Policy Center.
It does not change the way in which the medical board decides whose license is going to be revoked or who's going to be put on probation and keep their license.
So we could still see doctors with a history of sexual misconduct working.
Yes.
The medical board says it also has concerns, including that right now it would only apply to one license in the entire state. In a statement, a spokesperson told Team 10 the retrospective approach in this bill could subject the board to costly litigation that may overturn this legislation in court. Instead, the board has requested that Senator Weber-Pearson update her legislation. It's not clear if Weber Pearson will make changes to her bill. The senator's office didn't grant us an on-camera interview, but acknowledged the proposed legislation has a narrow focus. Austin Grabish, Team 10.